So now let's take a look at our precious Ethereum and what was going on over here, right?
It's
So,
fucking turd.
turd. Just as a reminder, though, so you guys know. So the same way we had that 4-year reaccumulation range built out on Bitcoin, same thing on Ethereum. So double top from last cycle. So here's May. Here's the November and December top. Okay. You get this massive reaccumulation over this past 4 years, just like Bitcoin, and then we continue to reject off of the top of the range this cycle. So this is what you see. So you got this one deviation over here, this blow off top, and then you continue to get this interaction with the top of our range over here. So we keep nuking off of that 4K mark. So what we're hoping is we hold, just like this August 5th nuke right here, and this nuke we got on Sunday. The hope is that obviously we hold this mid-range at 2,000. If we come any lower than that, then yeah, we can really fucking start trickling down into like 17, 1,800, which would not be fun. But yeah, that hurt. But ideally we hold this range, range within the range on this higher time frame. Okay, anyways, the first fib on this, once we finally get this breakout from 4K, which will happen eventually this cycle, first target's $9,000 Ethereum. So that's where I expect us to go at the very least this cycle. That would be an embarrassment if we only got 9K ETH, but at the very least we'll hit that. So on the lower time frame, which is what matters to us, is what are we seeing on ETH and what's it confluent with, so we can get an idea what price action is going to look like here short term. So we were looking at a couple of different things. The last nuke that we had on Ethereum was this August 5th nuke whenever Japan liquidated themselves. We get this nuke down here, and you saw a similar thing happen and starting to play out on the lower time frames. As you get this nuke that we had on Sunday, and then you get this liquidation bounce that gets everybody fake, or it fakes out everybody bullish again. And then basically we start to trickle back down. And not ideally, but what typically would happen is we rotate back down and we build a new range down here. So let's see what happened last time we did that. It was the same thing. So we nuked on August 5th. We had the same type of liquidation nuke here. We bounce back up and get fake bullish again. And it seems like we're recovering. But then what ends up happening is we start to reject twice at the same level. And then you come all the way back down and you basically partially or sometimes fully refill this wick over here. And then you create this new range. And then we got the next leg higher. Okay. Now, unfortunately, that's going to take some time for that to play out. But on the bright side, it gives you more time to accumulate your assets if you're trying to accumulate Ethereum beta. So you see, you get this fake bullish move back up, and then you come all the way back down and you try to fill this wick. Okay. So that's what it looks like is going to play out over here, right? So on the shorter time frame, we're doing something like this, right? Or we might even sneak back up to like 2,900. Okay. And then start to do this thing, right? And then refill this wick before we start moving back up, right? So what me and Logan are doing is we're effectively waiting for this to play out and come back down and refill this wick to a degree. I mean, I would say probably at least 2,300 we get. Refill some of this wick before we start actually moving back up, okay? So I would be patient to see how this plays out, because this is essentially what we had play out over here, right? What do you think, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people that agree with that thesis too of where we're probably going to go here over the next few weeks. So yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be try again in March. But yeah, I mean, I think like we were talking about, this level of like 2,800 on Ethereum has been pretty significant. Every time it's interacted with this level, it's either, whenever it's come down to the 2,800 level, it tends to snap below it, which is exactly what it did on Sunday. I was seeing, the last time that we had gotten down to that level was back on the August 5th dump. And I saw, immediately after we crossed that 2750, 2800 level, the floor just kind of gave out and it immediately snapped down to 2100. I didn't think it was possible for that to happen again. On Sunday like it did. I mean, we were watching it live and it went from 2800 ETH to 2150 in the matter of like 20 minutes.
Right.
So it's like super scammy. It's just like we were talking about on Monday, just a cascade effect of people getting liquidated out of their long and short positions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this 2700, 2800 level has been very significant because on August 5th, we snapped below it. Then we just ranged for, 2 months until around the time of the election. And then after Trump won the election and we crossed back up through that 2800 threshold, we immediately snapped back up, not instantly, but within a few weeks back up to above 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you scroll back on the chart to like February, March-ish time of this year.
Or 2024?
Yeah, right there
Mm-hmm.
on the left-hand side there. So yeah, you can see this same level, 27, 2800. We had rejected off of it at the beginning of last year,
I
bounced
see
off of
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever we've come up to that level from being down below, it's either it's going to snap down hard or it's going to pump back up through definitively and really break out of this range. So it got rejected in January, continued to range underneath that 2800 level for about a month and a half. And then once this, the first part of the bull run last year in March started, once we crossed back through that 2800 level, we sent almost immediately back up to 4100,
Right.
where we've continued to bang our head time and time again. So I think you're probably right with what you're saying is going to happen here over the next couple weeks. Since we did definitively snap hard below 2800, we're probably going to get stuck in this range for at least a couple weeks. Yeah, I think we'll probably try and refill some of that wick low down to like 2400. And then, yeah, by third week of February, first week of March, as soon as we get back above, definitively back above, like into range lows from before, I'd say like 3100 ETH,
Mm-hmm.
we're probably going to teleport back above 4,000.
I agree.
So,
And look at this. Look at this. This is interesting, right? Doesn't that look similar? So you got this big nuke right here, January 3rd, and you get this massive wick down. Now, it doesn't look like it's the same percentage move it took last time. Yeah, not even close. But because here's the start of the cascade. But you got this big red candle with this massive wick to the downside. You kind of recovered a little bit, which is what we did here. Kind of recover a little bit. You get this fake bull trap. You get this bull trap to the upside before you inevitably come back down and completely refill this entire move. They've refilled the entire move, retrace it before eventually up only again, right? So we probably get something like that where if we don't come down first, we might get this, right? Bull trap back up here, kind of refill some of this stuff up to, it's a little bit too high, but more like 3,100, 3,200 I could see before retracing the entire move, coming back down to refill that wick, and then we go again, right?
and I wonder if, yeah, I mean, it's almost identical.
Yeah.
The only thing that's, I wonder is last year at that time, I think that was this was in January of last year. I'm wondering if there was scam news that came out at that point too. Because that's the thing. It's like this move was caused by news that didn't even come to fruition. Like it ended up just being bullshit. But
Classic.
it's like from this point forward, I mean, the traders are going to be the ones that determine where we go from here because I mean the move already happened.
Right.
It's like the news was bullshit, but the move happened and people I think know how these moves tend to play out. So like you said, there's going to be a lot of hesitancy to just start aping money back in, especially with Ethereum being at this super weird level of like 27, 2800. It's kind of no man's land.
Right.
And it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to in the next week snap back into the range and then just start teleporting to 4,000, or we're going to, bounce up to the bottom of the previous range around 3,000, 3,100, probably get rejected and then refill some of that wick to the downside, probably come back down to like 24, 2,500, have the fucking generational buying
Entries.
opportunity.
Yep.
And then finally, I pray to God go into price discovery on ETH.
It's gonna be sick because as much as it sucks right now that reset on altcoins, the repricing on Ethereum is going to be so fucking aggressive that it's going to catch people off guard, and those who reaccumulated at the lows are going to see ridiculous gains up to the upside. Because, I mean, after the August nuke, you and me were accumulating Pepe, Brett, Andy, Wolf at literally their pico lows. That's where they bottomed out at was between August and September, accumulating big bags, and then they run up 10, 15x from the lows, Andy and Wolf, right? And then Pepe and Brett did what they did. So completely print on these bags, and that was Ethereum just bumping its head off of 4,000. Now you get the same exact entries with Ethereum at the price it is right now, but the price of Bitcoin is double what the price of Bitcoin was in August whenever Ethereum was at these levels. So you're telling me that Ethereum is worth 50% less now compared to Bitcoin than what it was last August? No. So what there's going to be is there's going to be a huge mean reversion that whenever Ethereum does finally get that bid again and starts to snap back to where it's supposed to be at, you get that mean reversion. It's going to be even more aggressive, the move to the upside. And then eventually, whenever you get into price discovery, of course, all the Boys Club memes are going to be in price discovery as well because their values attached to the value of Ethereum. So if Ethereum's hitting new all-time highs, then all those assets will hit new all-time highs as well. So now it just becomes, are you timing the reaccumulation correctly? That's the hard part. Knowing when to start reaccumulating without destroying your capital so you get as many tokens for your money as humanly possible for the upside move. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point too. It's like Bitcoin is held up, it's printed and held up so much better. And yeah, the price is so much higher than it was the last time Ethereum was at these prices. I think whenever Ethereum was down like this before, I mean, Bitcoin was at like what, 50,000 roughly?
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, it's like now we're holding Bitcoin around 100,000 with ETH at the same price as it was before. I mean, that's a great point. And also too, it's like for anyone that's been watching the stream for a while, you should probably be thinking about the headspace that you were in a couple months ago whenever Brett was at 22, 23 cents, Pepe was at point two, point was zero, however many zeros, 2.8. It was like $13 billion market cap. Andy was up at almost 400 million market cap. Landwolf was well over 200 million market cap. And if you guys think back to a month ago, whenever we were topping out, I guarantee you, I mean, because I was in the same boat, you guys were wishing that you would have accumulated more
Yep.
whenever you had the chance to back in like August, September. And if anything, I think the fact that Bitcoin's held shows you the cycle's not over. That should be about all the conviction you need, and that ETH hasn't gone into price discovery yet. That's all the conviction you need to know the cycle's not over. You're literally getting the same buying opportunities that you missed out on before that you were pissed at yourself about not taking advantage of. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that I'm not personally, I know you mentioned it already, but personally, I'm not accumulating yet. I am waiting for the kind of rollover here on
Right.
ETH over the next couple weeks. But for the way that altcoins already got wrecked, I mean, a lot of these coins are down 80, 85% from the highs. Personally, I don't think, and I think you agree, that they can't really come a
Right.
whole lot lower from where they're at right now. So personally, I don't think you're going to, if you're buying altcoins, I don't think you're going to get burnt too much. Even if you are accumulating through this week and over the next couple weeks, I personally don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but I'm just kind of waiting to see, yeah, here the next couple weeks if we roll over and then try and get the absolute punt of the century.
Punt.
I might
And
punt again.
look at listen, I'm not opposed to a bit of a punt. I got a good leg on me. Played soccer my whole life. So this is another situation, similar move, right? So this is different than the first one, the first example. So this was another big nuke that we had on Ethereum back in April of 24. So this was last year before we had this last run up on altcoins in the end of May and into June. So this is whenever Pepe, Brett, Andy, Wolf were pumping to the fucking, they were going to Valhalla in this range right here last year of 24. Right before that, right before we got that massive pump on the Boys Club memes and everybody printed, look at what happened, right? So we had this huge sell off on Ethereum back in April, right? So Ethereum comes up, come back down, boom, we get this big nuke, right? 26% move. So big move. This one was 38%, much larger, more aggressive, but still comparable in the sense that it was a fat drawdown in a very quick time frame. Very quick, couple days. So we get this big move to the downside and see what happens. Same thing. We get this bounce back up and you kind of fake move to the upside before you get another wick down here to fill this wick, to at least partially fill it, you see? So I drew that out. The same scenario again here. You get this move up here, jot all the way down to the wick. You get this fake bounce and you kind of curl up a little bit. And it looks like you might be seeing it here now, similar to this candle right here. Then we probably start to come down on Ethereum, right? Around 2300, at least partially fill this wick before we start to move up again, right? So that's what we're looking for right now. We're looking for this to play out, hopefully faster, right? Sooner rather than later. You get this wick to fill. Now we say, okay, does it look like it's bottoming? Is it starting to curl up a little bit? Is it starting to create a range? We're not nuking down to 1800. Great. Shove. Okay. But again, that's the skill of it, is understanding if it actually is bottoming or not, as opposed to just blindly aping in. So that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. I'm not in the camp that we hit $1,800 on Ethereum, because if we get this wick to fill and we can cover most of that and we can start to curl back up a little bit, especially with the bullish catalyst that we have with this administration, it's only going to take one bit of news to start sending up Bitcoin. And as soon as Bitcoin takes its next leg higher, as much as we want to respect levels, as much as we want to say, oh, market structure was broken, etc., all other altcoins are going to pump. If Bitcoin pumps, everything else pumps. That is the number one correlation. That's the number one catalyst you want to pay attention to. If Bitcoin pumps, everything else pumps. So market structure gets thrown out the window. So hopefully Ethereum is just, it survives long enough up in here by the time that Bitcoin takes its next leg higher, and then we get saved by that move on Bitcoin. So that's what I'm expecting. We see a lot of examples of Ethereum moving this way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's, if we go below 2100, it's kind of like, you can't say out around your dogs. You got to spell it out. You got to say OUT. It's like, we got to spell over. Can't say it.
Yeah.
If we go below 2100, it might be OVER.
We're cooked. We may be cooked.
But yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason for that to happen, especially not at the time that we are cyclically. I mean, this is the timeline that we've been preaching since the beginning, is, February through May of the year following Bitcoin halving. So this is kind of the timeline we've been waiting for. Like we said last stream, this pullback has made the multiples targets for the coins that we're invested in so much more possible.
Yes.
Pepe now, to do a 10x, like we mentioned last stream, has to go to 40 billion, compared to trying to pull a 10x from the highs. It would have had to go to like 120, 130 billion. So I'd rather be aping into something needing 40 bill out of Pepe, which is extremely doable. I mean, SHIB is a complete piece of shit, and it pulled way more than that last cycle. So yeah, I mean, the fact too that like we kind of had a mini alt season a couple times last year. Like the November one was kind of a scam because we had Trump getting elected, and it just forced everything to pump around the time of November 5th, whenever he won the election. And then we did kind of have a mini alt season in March-ish last year, but there was never a period of time where like certain, meme coins were really breaking out and standing out as clear winners. Like Dogecoin caught some momentum again, pumped back up to like 65 billion market cap or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like last cycle, you had altcoins that were going absolutely ape shit. I mean, Dogecoin was, pulled a like 10,000x in a couple weeks. SHIB was pumping up to like 60, 70 billion. So I feel like the fact we haven't seen any of that either, there hasn't been any super parabolic moves. There's been coins that have pumped hard, but nothing's gone up to like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 billion.
Exactly.
Like before. So that, along with everything else we've mentioned, I don't think it's really happened yet. And I definitely think it's coming. I can't see any reason for us to break below 2100. That'd be fucking ignorant.
Yeah. So this is the range that had played out from August nuke. So this move from all the way down here, boom. So same thing. Once again, another example. You get this massive nuke. Everybody thought it was over for Ethereum. All the boys club were decimated, destroyed, etc. You get this fake move back to the upside where you reject on the range high and then see what happens. We come all the way back down again. Fill this wick. Range back up. Bang. Then we shoot off. Okay. So there's two scenarios I could see playing out here too. So if we're respecting this range again and we just extend this range back out over here, because you see we're interacting with the top of this range, we either come back down to the mid range or we come all the way back down to the bottom of the range and basically completely fill this wick, which is possible, at $2,100. So I would expect the most we come down is about 2,100 on ETH. What was the one other thing I was going to say? You were saying something about, what was I going to say?
About the altcoins, none of them going parabolic yet.
Oh, great. Yes, exactly. Bitcoin dominance is still not nuked. That's how you know we haven't had alt season yet. So we've had stints of altcoin outperformance. But if we go to our, I don't know why it's giving me this. Like, look at how my layout's named Stunna.
Fucking Bitcoin dominance, dude. You could have shorted this shit fucking 17 years ago and just printed.
This is ETH BTC. Hold on, let me pull up dominance. I have dominance here. Where is it at?
We should probably look at have you looked at the others dominance chart in a while?
No, but we can look at it for sure.
Take a peek.
This real quick, just for Bitcoin dominance, so you guys understand. This is the alt season indicator. Until you see this thing nuke, which it's got a fucking blow off top. Hilarious.
I haven't looked at this in a while.
Yeah. So this has been up only for the past 4 years as well, since the bear market, right? So Bitcoin dominance, that means that the percentage of the entire crypto space market cap, what percentage is the market cap of Bitcoin? So how much of the Bitcoin market cap dominates the entire crypto space market cap? As this goes up, that means Bitcoin's growing market share against all the other altcoins. When this nukes, that's alt season. That's when you see altcoins go parabolic. That's when you see people print 10, 15, 20, 30, 40x multiples in the matter of weeks. That's alt season. We still haven't had that. So until I see this thing fucking puke, I know the cycle's not over. Because that rotation from Bitcoin, people taking profits, people thinking that Bitcoin has no more meaningful upside for them, until we see that rotation of capital into altcoins, cycle's not over. Once we see this thing start to nuke and it comes back down here, all right, yeah, you better fucking start looking for the door, player, because that means altcoins are going parabolic. Therefore, this chart goes down because altcoins are gaining more market share against Bitcoin. That means altcoins are pumping hard.